Dog won't stop scratching wall, owner breaks it open and screams. The beginning of an obsession. Ethan had always considered himself a logical man. He didn't believe in ghosts, omens, or supernatural nonsense. So, when his golden retriever, Max, began obsessively scratching at the living room wall, he dismissed it as nothing more than an odd habit. At first, it was just an occasional scratch, nothing too concerning. But as days passed, Max's behavior became more frantic. He'd whine, bark, and paw at the same spot, day and night. No matter how many times Ethan pulled him away or distracted him with treats, Max always returned to that one section of the wall. Max, enough! Ethan scolded one evening, pulling the dog back by his collar. Max whimpered, his big brown eyes staring at the wall as if something beyond it was calling to him. His girlfriend, Sarah, who had been watching from the couch, chuckled. Maybe there's a rat in there. Ethan sighed. I checked. No scratching sounds, no droppings, no holes. It's just a plain wall. Then why is he so obsessed? Sarah asked, frowning. Ethan had no answer. The unsettling escalation. By the end of the week, Max's behavior had become unbearable. He refused to sleep, spending hours scratching at the wall until his paws bled. The once pristine paint had been worn away, revealing the rough plaster beneath. Concerned, Ethan called a pest control service. They inspected the house thoroughly, even using thermal imaging to detect any hidden creatures. But their verdict was clear, there was nothing unusual inside the wall. Maybe he smells something we can't, Sarah suggested as they sat in the dimly lit living room that evening. But what? Ethan asked. There's nothing there. That night, Ethan heard it, a faint noise, like a whisper. At first, he thought it was his imagination. But when he pressed his ear to the wall, a cold shiver ran down his spine. A faint, rhythmic tapping. Tap. 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 Coming from inside the wall. The decision to break it open. The sound continued for 3 nights. Every time Ethan checked, there was nothing there. Sarah was convinced it was just the house settling, but Max refused to let it go. Finally, Ethan snapped. I can't take this anymore. He grabbed a hammer from the toolbox. Sarah's eyes widened. Wait, you're actually breaking the wall? If it stops Max from going crazy, then yes. With one powerful swing, he smashed the hammer into the wall. Dust exploded into the air as chunks of drywall crumbled. Max barked excitedly, pawing at the broken section. As Ethan cleared the debris, his breath hitched. Behind the wall was a small, hollow space, like a hidden compartment. And inside, something was moving. The horrifying discovery. Ethan yanked away more of the wall, his heart pounding. Sarah stood behind him, gripping his shoulder. A small, dirty bundle lay in the dark compartment. A child. No more than 5 years old, curled into a ball, eyes wide with fear. Sarah screamed. Ethan stumbled back, unable to comprehend what he was seeing. The child's face was pale, his cheeks sunken. He looked weak, terrified, like he had been trapped there for days. My God, Sarah whispered. How did he get in there? Ethan turned to Max, who was now licking the child's face gently. Max had been trying to save him all along. The investigation. The police arrived within minutes. They carefully extracted the boy, who could barely speak, and rushed him to the hospital. Ethan and Sarah were questioned for hours. How had a child ended up inside their wall? Who was he? The answers were more disturbing than they could have imagined. The house's previous owner had been arrested years ago for child trafficking. The authorities believed the child had been hidden in that secret compartment, possibly left behind when the criminals fled. He could have died in there, one officer murmured. If it weren't for your dog. Max wagged his tail, oblivious to the gravity of what he had done. The aftermath. The boy, whose name was Oliver, made a slow but steady recovery. He was placed in protective custody, and an investigation into his origins began. Ethan and Sarah couldn't shake the horror of what had been hidden in their home. The thought that Oliver had been trapped there, alone and starving, sent chills down their spines. Max, their loyal dog, had sensed something was wrong long before they had. "I'll never ignore his instincts again," Ethan said, scratching Max behind the ears. Sarah smiled. "He's a hero." As for the house, Ethan and Sarah couldn't bear to stay there anymore. Some things, they realized, were too terrible to forget. And sometimes, the scariest things weren't ghosts or monsters, but the secrets hidden within our own walls.